Trump is a con man. He asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair and to lie about it to his wife, which I did.
Stormy Daniels dramatically shared her side of the story this week. Next up, Michael Cohen takes the stand. I'm Valerie Castro in for Gadi Schwartz, and this is Stay Tuned Now. And we begin with the criminal trial of former President Donald Trump wrapping up another week here in New York. This week, Stormy Daniels provided arguably salacious testimony about her relationship with Trump. And on Monday, sources tell NBC News we'll hear from another star witness, Michael Cohen, Trump's former fixer who allegedly coordinated the hush money payments to the former adult film actress. Today, we heard from other key witnesses, including one of Trump's closest White House aides. NBC News correspondent Yasmin Vesuvian has the latest.
Valerie, it was a wild week in court today in the Trump hush money trial in downtown Manhattan, wrapping up the week with Madeleine Westerhout on the stand, cross-examination beginning this morning, Friday. Wrapping up with some witnesses from the Manhattan DA's office talking really about the documentation, the gathering of text messages, social media posts as well. Court ending at 1 p.m., going into recess early this afternoon. Monday morning resuming with Michael Cohen on the witness stand, certainly set to take a couple of days or so. Today was all about the documents. This case really is all about the documents. After all, sure, Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, star witnesses, certainly salacious testimony from the two of them, but it is the documents really that are the star witness for the prosecution, building the case against the former president, presenting a story of how the former president felt desperate to pay off Stormy Daniels in the days leading up to the November elections. And those documents certainly came out today with witnesses from the Manhattan DA's office, along with witnesses from Verizon and AT&T verifying the obtaining of phone records for so many of the folks involved in this trial. Certainly next week will be salacious, with Michael Cohen likely to stay on the stand for at least a few days. The prosecution saying they could likely wrap up their case by the end of next week, and then it will go into the hands of the defense, who, from what we know, only have a couple of witnesses on tap. This thing could be wrapping up in the next 10 days or so. Certainly, though, a wild week in court this week. Looking forward, though, to next Monday with Michael Cohen on the stand, Valerie.
Okay, Yasmin Vesuvian, thank you so much. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Angela Cadella. Angela, thanks for being here tonight. Arguments next week. Michael Cohen will be on the stand. What do you think both sides will be trying to get out of him? And with Stormy Daniels' testimony, does that change their tactic when they question him?
That's a great question. So in terms of the arguments, the prosecution really needs Michael Cohen. And even though Yasmin said, yes, this is all about the documents, at the end of the day, these checks were allegedly written from Donald Trump to Michael Cohen. And then he was paying Keith Davidson, Stormy Daniels' lawyer, and then it ended up in the hands of Stormy Daniels. So in order to follow this whole money trail, there's only one person who can pinpoint Donald Trump at the center of all of this. And given that the defense has repeatedly argued that maybe Cohen was just going rogue, that Trump really had nothing to do with this, we need Cohen because he's the only one who really was talking to Donald Trump about any of this. So what the prosecution will be doing, we know that they've been laying the ground about this meeting in the White House, and they'll be asking about what happened in that meeting. Does Michael Cohen have any notes or any insight into whether or not Donald Trump was literally behind all of this? Now, in terms of the defense, well, they just have a panoply of options here, largely attacking his credibility, that Cohen in the past has said this is not true, and then he changed his mind. He wrote a book that's called Revenge. So when you wonder if a witness has possible outside motivations here, I mean, even his book title could give that away. So they're going to claim that Cohen is just totally lying, that this is all just total BS, Valerie.
Speaking of Michael Cohen, even though he hasn't been on the stand just yet, he's already been making headlines this week. He went live on TikTok wearing a T-shirt that had an image of the former president behind bars. Do those antics do anything to help the prosecution or more so the defense?
Yes, absolutely. They really helped the defense way more than the prosecution. I am certain the prosecutors were so upset that this man is doing this. But it also shows, like, you can't really control your witnesses. Your witnesses will do what they want, especially because they are not under a gag order like Donald Trump is. But when a witness gets up there on TikTok or on any form of social media and says horrible things about the defendant and implies how much they hate the defendant, as we did see with Stormy Daniels and the cross there of her former posts, then that shows a level of bias. That makes the jury less willing to trust what comes out of this witness's mouth. And as we said, Cohen, what he says will pinpoint Trump in the middle of this. So his testimony is vital. His credibility is vital.
So if you are his attorney, he's going on the stand next week, what are you advising him? How are you instructing him?
So first of all, be very calm, to try not to get riled up. Don't go on the attack. Only answer the questions that you are given, and really just pull the thread of the entire story. So up until this point, there's been so much evidence introduced in terms of physical documents that were all laid out today, all the checks together, and then also so much witness testimony. But it's somewhat of this circle. It's like a spiral, and somebody needs to weave it all together. That will happen in closing arguments. But the prosecution is hoping that Cohen will, that he'll explain how it was that Donald Trump is in the center of all of this, that it's not just Cohen himself, who just went rogue and hates Trump so much that he did this all on his own before as a sycophant and now is trying to pin him down because he hates him, Valerie.
And the key player in the courtroom, of course, is Trump himself. He has said in the past he would like to testify, but given what we've seen so far, he can be unpredictable. Do you think he should?
Absolutely not. And I also think this is an MO that he has presented in the past, where he will say he is going to testify. And look, when he says that, the prosecution or in a civil lawsuit, the other side, they will go into a frenzy. They have to prep for the possibility of him defending. That eats up so many hours of their time. He does it, but ultimately he will know not to go on that stand because that will just be horrible for him in every way. The cross will be extensive. We already know here in the Sandoval hearing that we know they can go after all of his credibility issues. The fact that he did assault E. Jean Carroll according to that civil verdict, and also what happened in the civil fraud lawsuit. Like, he is not going on that stand because all of that stuff will be introduced and he will be obliterated. Also, the other criminal trials, Valerie, anything he says here can and would be used against him in all of the others. So if I were his lawyer, I would say absolutely not. And I know that he knows better as well.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens next week. We know there's so much more to come. Looking ahead to that testimony on Monday from Michael Cohen. Angela, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Colleges across the country are gearing up for graduation, but this year at some campuses it looks a little different. A lot of schools, like the University of Wisconsin, coming down on those pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Today, the university and student protesters came to an agreement which included clearing out the encampments. But at other universities, it's not always amicable. Hours before a graduation at the University of Arizona, police disbanded unauthorized encampments. And in the last day, we've seen dozens arrested or detained at MIT and UPenn. NBC News correspondent Liz Schwartz has the latest.
As thousands of college graduates take the stage in celebration tonight, at other universities, a stark contrast with more arrests made by police breaking up pro-Palestinian encampments. At the University of Pennsylvania, police in riot gear physically removing demonstrators, detaining 33 people. And at the University of Arizona, law enforcement using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse protesters. Police say rocks and water bottles were thrown at officers. Demonstrators still camped out on the stage where commencement usually takes place at Pomona College near Los Angeles, the school announcing it's moving the ceremony off campus. At Columbia, there will be no university-wide celebration this year, but smaller events got underway today away from the main campus.
I wish we were celebrating on Morningside campus today, but alas, we are not.
Meanwhile, at the University of Southern California, the school's pro-Palestinian valedictorian, Asna Tabassum, receiving her diploma at a smaller department ceremony today. USC canceled Tabasum's speech and ultimately their entire main commencement ceremony, citing security concerns. Some Jewish groups had voiced concerns over Tabasum's Instagram, which included a link to a website that calls for the abolishment of Israel.
Sad to hear her not speak, honestly. I'd love to hear her.
Asna Tabasum.
At an event yesterday, Tabasum getting an ovation from her classmates. Today, Tabasum sharing what would have been her speech with the school newspaper. A majority of it she blacked out, sending a message that she was silenced.
And this is where the encampment once was, now filled with celebratory graduates. All around campus, there are signs warning students that anyone who is exceptionally disruptive today could be removed immediately. Back to you.
This morning, 33 protesters were arrested for trespassing at the University of Pennsylvania, just 7 of them students. It happened as police who were decked out in riot gear tried to clear out encampments there. NBC News correspondent George Solis is there for us now. George, this clash between police and protesters, it's been brewing for about 2 weeks now, right?
Yeah, that's right, Valerie. And protesters and the university could not come to a consensus. The university saying the encampment had become disruptive. This also comes after the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, weighed in saying something in essence should be done about the encampment. And so we saw those scenes play out this morning here. And this is, mind you, 10 days before commencement. So here the tone and tenor has completely changed. There's still a Philadelphia police presence here on campus at this hour, blocking off where that encampment was. University officials saying no one but University of Pennsylvania students will be allowed in that area for the time being, Valerie.
George, as you mentioned, UPenn's commencement is just 10 days away. How are students and faculty feeling about the arrests and removal of those encampments so close to that big ceremony?
Yeah, keep in mind, a lot of them are watching what's playing out across college campuses where you've had commencements that have either been canceled or rearranged to some degree. Here at the University of Pennsylvania, commencement still scheduled to go on as planned. Of course, that also remains to be seen as we approach that date. But a lot of students, of course, trying to focus on that. We've seen that juxtaposition of students taking commencement photos, trying to carry on while that encampment was going on. But the university, again, for its part, saying now that that encampment's done, they really want to put some rules and safeguards in place to make sure things can kind of carry on as normal. Because keep in mind, students are still working on those final exams. And on top of that, graduation means a lot to some of these students. These are the same students that missed out on a graduation because of the pandemic. So they really want to make sure things go off without a hitch here at the University of Pennsylvania, Valerie.
Yeah, I'm sure security is of concern. Is the university taking extra security measures for the commencement? And are they expecting any more demonstrations around that time?
Yeah, well, hard to say if they're expecting any more. Obviously, the concern here with having the Philadelphia police along with their own campus police here to make sure no encampments go back up. But really what you're going to see moving forward is sort of best way to think of it is TSA rules are now in effect for those commencements that are planned here at the University of Pennsylvania. They're basically saying nothing gets in. You need an ID if you're a Penn student to come to the commencement ceremony. So they really are putting a lot of safeguards in place to make sure that no disruptions take place, as again we've seen play out at some of these commencements that are happening. So it's definitely going to be a very different type of graduation season, but nevertheless, again, here at the University of Pennsylvania, they are hoping that commencement does continue and will move forward, Valerie.
All right, yeah, the graduation, as we mentioned, just 10 days away. George Solis, thank you. And don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Up next, a Virginia school board does a 180, restoring the names of Confederate leaders to 2 schools. It's a decision that has the community there split, and our Yumi Shalsindor has all the details. Plus, get ready for a light show you gotta see to believe, all thanks to a geomagnetic storm. We'll tell you if you can see it in your area. And later this hour, meet an exceptional Boy Scout who received the organization's highest honor. That's in tonight's 60 Seconds of Joy, so stay tuned.
Follow my dad and my brother because when they got their ego, I won't be able to get mine.
Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. Some heartbreaking news out of Utah as the two men caught in yesterday's avalanche near Salt Lake City were identified. The victims are 23-year-old Andrew Cameron and 32-year-old Austin Mallett. A third man miraculously survived and was airlifted to safety last night. Over 700 hospitality workers at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas launched a 48-hour strike today after failing to secure a new contract. They are demanding wage increases and stronger protections. The resort claims it negotiated in good faith and filed a labor practice charge against the union, saying that the union is not bargaining fairly. Deputies in New Mexico uncovered a rooster breeding and cockfighting operation next to an elementary school, finding rows of roosters locked in cases and barrels. The alleged mastermind didn't own the property but was allowed to stash his feathered fighters there. He claimed the injuries and missing feathers were due to disease, but videos on his phone told a different story. He is now in police custody. President Biden is on the campaign trail tonight, making his way from the Bay Area to Seattle for closed-door campaign fundraisers. His stop comes as he is facing new divisions from both sides of the aisle over his shift in Israel policy. NBC's Mike Memoli has more.
Valerie, when President Biden is coming out here to the West Coast, it's usually more about fundraising than campaigning. But we did hear some interesting new comments from the president as he weighs in on this new phase of the 2024 race, which is Donald Trump's search for a vice presidential running mate. At the first of two fundraisers here in the Bay Area, President Biden referring to that interview Tim Scott did, the Republican South Carolina senator, with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, where he refused to say that he would certify the results of the 2024 election depending on what happens. At the second fundraiser, Biden referring to that long list of Republicans who want to be Trump's number two, saying that they've all drank the Kool-Aid. Now, what's interesting about these fundraisers, we often hear President Biden test driving some messages that we might hear in public down the road. And Biden today summing up his effort for re-election as about lowering costs, expanding opportunities, and protecting freedom. He touted the long list of accomplishments he feels he's racked up in 3.5 years as president, including the investments in green energy, a big issue here on the West Coast, and warned that if Donald Trump is elected again, that he would not only undo Biden's accomplishments, but also go after President Obama's signature legislative accomplishment, the Affordable Care Act. As we look at this 2024 race, there is one clear advantage that Biden does have over Trump, as polls show a tight race, and that is about fundraising. Biden and the Democratic National Committee, they have $131 million in the bank compared to just $67 million for Trump and the RNC. That's where he has an advantage, but we're continuing to see, though, the headwinds facing President Biden, especially on the issue of Israel and Gaza. Today, Morehouse College, where the president is set to deliver the commencement address next weekend, we saw faculty members pushing the administration not to award an honorary doctorate to the president because of his handling of the conflict. We see the president's decision this week to delay a key shipment of weapons to Israel getting flack from both Democrats as well as Republicans, but the president insisting that he is doing what's right for the country. Now, as we look ahead, President Biden will continue this fundraising swing. Two fundraisers here in San Francisco before flying up to Seattle for two more before he heads back to the East Coast. Valerie?
Mike Memoli, thank you. This morning, a school board in Virginia voted to restore the names of Confederate leaders to two public schools. The names were changed back in 2020 in the wake of George Floyd's murder that sparked a nationwide racial movement. But since then, a conservative group had been working to reverse that decision. NBC News Washington correspondent Yamiche Alcindor has more.
Tonight, people in Shenandoah County are divided after a Virginia school district voted 5-1 to restore the names of Confederate military leaders to two public schools.
The reason why they changed the name, I kind of understand that, but we need to put it back to our heritage. This is where we're from. This is what we do.
I don't like it at all, and just thinking about it makes my heart race.
Stonewall Jackson, it's a part of our heritage.
The process was wrongfully done.
Last night, parents, teachers, and students sounded off in front of the school board.
People don't take the time to think about students like me who would not be proud to graduate from a school with the name Stonewall Jackson. He fought for slavery to be a constitutional right.
The contentious hours-long board meeting lasted into early Friday morning.
Please do what's right for Shenandoah County to restore our heritage, our history, and our school names.
My heart breaks for the children that are going to have to walk into schools named after people that wanted them and their families enslaved by the white man.
After the killing of George Floyd in 2020, there were nationwide efforts to reckon with racism and get rid of Confederate symbols. Statues were removed from public squares. Schools and military bases across the country were renamed. Here, Stonewall Jackson High School and Ashby Lee Elementary became Mountain View High and Honey Run Elementary. But in the years since, some conservative leaders here have been trying to reverse those efforts, which is what happened here.
You cannot ignore the heritage and feelings of your Black and brown students just because we are the minority. They honor men who believe that I have less value and worth because I'm Black.
This reversal is a sign that the debate over how America deals with its painful past is far from over. Valerie?
Okay, Yamiche, thank you. Coming up, a solar storm this weekend could cause the Northern Lights to put on a show in the U.S. We'll have those details. But first, you gotta see this. We've been reporting on the devastating tornadoes that slammed the Midwest this week. One Michigan family who lost their home had to say goodbye to their 6 puppies. But a local animal group is stepping in to make sure they find new homes with some new names.
This one is Tornado, and we have Rainy, Hail, Twister, Stormy, and I'm missing one. Siren.
So, of course, Siren. The tornado litter survived their namesake at only 8 weeks old, showing that anything is possible. The adorable pups will be available for adoption in a couple of weeks. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. A man in Florida was arrested after biting a chunk out of a sheriff's deputy's head. Police say the attacker was a volunteer at a music festival and under the influence of multiple substances. He allegedly assaulted the deputy trying to take his gun before being restrained. The deputy was taken to a nearby hospital. Tennis star Novak Djokovic was hit by a water bottle at the Italian Open. He was signing autographs after a match when a metal bottle just fell on his head. He immediately fell to the floor. The tournament says the water bottle actually fell out of a backpack and was not intentionally thrown. Djokovic was checked out and is all right. A gay couple filed a first-of-its-kind class action lawsuit against New York City. They say the city's health insurance plan is discriminatory because it doesn't cover IVF for male couples. The two say they've been trying to have children since 2014. They filed a charge in 2022, but the policy hasn't changed since then. An auto safety agency is pretty concerned over Ford's recall of some of their SUVs. Ford recalled over 40,000 cars over concerns fuel leaks could lead to engine fires. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is now investigating Ford's apparent fix to the recall. A Texas couple welcomed identical quadruplet girls last week. It's extremely rare, with the odds about only 1 in 15 million. Hannah, Lucy, Rebecca, and Petra were all delivered during a C-section, and they joined their 2 older brothers, making them a family of 8. Just a month ago, we were putting on our paper glasses to catch a glimpse of the eclipse. Tonight, an even rarer solar event arrives, and it might have you reaching for those glasses once again. The Northern Lights supercharged by a severe geomagnetic storm. The show already reaching people in other parts of the world. NBC's Bill Cairns is here to give us a closer look. Hi, Bill.
Valerie, the pictures that are coming in from Europe are incredible. This looks to be even more impressive, hopefully not as impactful, but more impressive than was forecast. We need clear skies to see this. Much of the country tonight, the peak is expected to be after the sun sets, right through the night and until the sun comes up. And the moon, the little crescent moon, will be setting, by the way, right around midnight or so. So that'll even make it even darker out there. So no problems at all. The Great Lakes are clearing out. We're looking pretty good throughout the northern plains. The Northwest, Northern Rockies looks good. A lot of clouds, though, especially Colorado and Utah. And unfortunately, for me included, a lot of clouds on the eastern seaboard, especially thick from D.C. to Philly to New York, back into central New York. Maybe by sunrise, right before sunrise, there may be a window where the clouds try to clear up. And just to give you an example, I expect these pictures that I'm about to show you to be, from Canada and all through the northern half of the U.S., maybe even in some portions of the central U.S. So this is Matterhorn, this is Vermont, this is in Switzerland. This is obviously from the top. We're well well up there, 14, 15,000 feet. But you can see the color pink and purple is all across Europe. That's the dominant color with this geomagnetic storm that's coming in. Here's from Austria. And what got me with this one is that you see the light pollution here from the city and the valley, but we can still see vivid colors of the greens and the purples and the hues here. And how about this image from Germany? This is like pillars of light. It's washing the camera out that it is so bright. I mean, that's incredible stuff. Imagine being able to see that in person. Even in Paris, I've seen a picture of the Eiffel Tower. It doesn't look like this, but you can still see a little hue of the pink in the sky. It's amazingly south, and people are just saying they can't believe how far south it is, and that's a good sign if you're, in the middle of our country, maybe even portions of the south. So why is this all happening? So if we get into it, this is the sun. These are the ejections that came out of it. There's a really active, large sunspot that was shooting out emissions. It was shooting it out into space, and that's what's now arriving here. And so when we have the potential like this, it could even be south of this. It's even stronger than was anticipated. So again, we expect it to peak midnight to about 4 a.m. And if you're anywhere north of that green line here, you're almost guaranteed to see it if you have clear skies. South of that, if you look north, you have a chance. So we're even talking like from Atlanta northwards, maybe from Oklahoma City northwards, areas of central California. And as far as cloud cover goes, the only issues look to be in Michigan, and as I mentioned, potentially areas of central mid-Atlantic portions of Pennsylvania and also into central New York. And here's about what we know. I mentioned the moon actually setting there, so that's going to help. And as far as the details go, we've had about 7 solar storms, and these are all going to hit the Earth in the next, this weekend. We've already had one. We're seeing the next one happening right now, and these are going to kind of mix. They all go at different speeds because they get ejected from the sun at different speeds, and that's why some of these are going to overlap. And that size of the sunspot is about 16 times bigger than the Earth, so that's why it's huge, and it was pointed right at us. This afternoon was a G4. I've even heard reports, Valerie, that this could possibly be a G5 as we go throughout tonight. Those are extremely, extremely rare, just to give you an idea of what we could be in store for. So get ready. If you want to stay up all night tonight, you might have quite a show.
All right, Bill Cairns, thank you. After a week of destructive and deadly severe weather outbreaks across the country, millions are breathing a sigh of relief tonight as the worst is finally over, but not before those storms caused some major damage this morning across the southeast. There is now a state of emergency across northern Florida. The storms so strong entire trees toppled into homes. This comes one day after severe storms in Texas produced massive hail as large as 5 inches, big enough to break through car windows. There were more than 1,500 storm reports this week alone, the most devastating damage coming from hundreds of tornadoes that swept through the Great Plains and Midwest, killing at least 3 people. NBC News correspondent Priya Sridhar has more.
Toppled trees and scattered construction equipment. Tonight, Tallahassee, the latest in a line of cities cleaning up from severe weather this week. At least 1 woman is dead from the storms after a tree fell on her home. Suspected tornadoes, hail, and powerful thunderstorms roared through the city early this morning, leaving 70,000 in the dark. Carl Whittington was describing the storm to us.
I looked out the window, and there's just white.
When another tree fell behind his home.
There goes my big pine tree in the backyard.
The big top at Florida State University's famous high-flying circus was ripped apart, leaving the 75-year-old student act without a place to perform.
Alarms started going off, and then you could hear the wind really howling.
The deadly week-long severe weather outbreak has devastated families from Michigan to Tennessee. Like Brianne Lovett, last night we told you she was still looking for her mother. Tonight she's learned her mom, 67-year-old Cheryl Lovett, died.
She was wonderful. You couldn't make her mad. She was always smiling.
Our thanks to Priya for that report. Remember earlier this year those striking images of coastlines along California just slipping away, like this one last month in Big Sur that crumbled a chunk of the iconic Highway 1? Or back in February when this mansion looked like it was barely hanging on after days of rain eroded the land around it. Now a group of researchers are studying even the smallest changes in the coastline in hopes it helps predict larger problems before it even happens. Greg Bledsoe with our NBC affiliate in San Diego has more.
While California's coast may be best known for its breathtaking views, what scientists see is a landscape constantly changing.
The bluff has collapsed.
It's a very dynamic environment.
Unbelievable. Whoa. California's coastline is eroding, and while the scenes are not always as dramatic as this, changes are happening daily.
I mean, you see differences on our beaches every day if you look, yeah.
That's the little seal.
And these scientists look as closely as anyone.
So we're doing a beach survey. This particular beach we look at every week.
Via truck, ATV, and drone, this team from Scripps Institution of Oceanography regularly surveys San Diego's coastline using technology called LIDAR.
LIDAR stands for light detection and ranging. It's essentially a laser mapping system, so it shoots out laser pulses at very high frequency, around 500,000 pulses per second. And each one of those bounces off of the surface of the land, comes back to the scanner, and then we can use that information to make a very high-resolution three-dimensional map of the coastline.
Those maps can compare what the beaches look like today versus last week or last year.
This is a cliff collapse in Del Mar along the train tracks that happened a few months ago.
So we can get really precise, we can get down to a few centimeters.
The goal is to better understand how, when, and where coastal bluffs fail.
If there's a problem area, how can you tell that by looking at a scan?
Predicting when and where a landslide is going to occur is extremely difficult. Definitely there are things that we can look for. You can tend to get repeated events in the same area over time, and so a landslide can be active over a period of weeks or days or months.
Meaning, when the scan shows them even a small change in one particular area, it could mean more and possibly bigger changes are on the way.
Long-term impact is that we want to use this information so we can build better models to help predict how our coastline is going to evolve in the future.
And speaking of the future,
that beach is completely stripped of sand.
This year may be a glimpse into it.
To me, this looks the most eroded I've ever seen it here, basically.
A very wet El Nino year, along with a few days of huge winter waves, have given these scientists a scenario they rarely get to study.
And during El Nino events, the ocean level actually rises up a little bit. And so that does give us a glimpse into how we may see the coastline respond in the future as sea level comes up.
And with infrastructure, property, and lives at risk, it is critical they learn everything they can.
Understanding the processes that are happening now are absolutely critical if we want to understand and try to predict what's going to happen in the future.
Target is scaling back on its Pride Month collection this year. It comes after last year when the company received some pretty intense backlash from conservatives. The move raises new questions about how companies can find the balance on social issues. NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett has more.
Tonight, Target toning down its Pride line ahead of Pride Month.
I noticed that Target has some Pride items online, but conveniently not in stores. Not that I really love the whole rainbow capitalism, but the fact that they aren't even trying to get our money this year.
In 2023, the company sold Pride apparel at its more than 1,900 stores. But this year, the size of its Pride collection could be significantly reduced, selling its merchandise at select stores, but making it all available online. That decision, based on historical sales data, Target said in a statement. This comes after Target sales dropped for the first time in 6 years, following 2023's conservative backlash over its Pride products in store.
Honestly, Target, what is going on? This is pretty disgusting.
At the time, Target said employees were receiving threats, so they removed, quote, items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior.
Because we're in 2024, which happens to be an election year, and the topic has more visibility, with voters and also consumers. We're finding out there is a price on principles.
Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us.
This all follows the controversy after Bud Light's partnership with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney.
Bud Light and
Anheuser-Busch.
Nearly a year later, the brand still seemingly hasn't recovered. Beer sales for Anheuser-Busch InBev, which owns Bud Light, remained flat, losing its crown to Modelo as America's top-selling beer for the first time in 22 years.
This is some of the residual leftovers from the Bud Light problem. No company out there wants to lose sales. When it comes to the marketing and the advertising, that's where they don't want to experience the blowback, and that's where you see them slowly walking back into their own closet.
A shift as corporations seemingly shy away from taking a stance on consumer social issues.
More, Barrett, thank you. Still to come, a fight over sunken treasure. A ship that sank 300 years ago off the coast of Colombia could have goods on it worth billions, so it's no surprise everyone wants their hands on it. We'll explain, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. In Russia, 7 people are dead after a bus swerved off a bridge and plunged into a river. 6 people who were rescued are in critical or serious condition. Apparently, the owner of the bus has been fined 23 times for different violations. Police say they detained the bus driver and are opening a criminal investigation. Members of 3 South American indigenous communities are trying to get their share of treasure from a sunken Spanish ship. The ship sank over 300 years ago off Colombia's coast and is believed to have billions of dollars worth of goods like gold, silver, and jewels. The communities say their Bolivian ancestors extracted the metals that make up half of the ship's cargo. The UN's cultural agency says they have received the request. And good news for women's basketball fans. Toronto is getting a WNBA team. The team will be owned by Kilmer Sports, a company headed by Toronto billionaire Larry Tannenbaum. They'll be hitting the court in 2026 and will be the league's first team outside of the United States. Almost 100,000 people have gathered in Malmö, Sweden for the annual Eurovision singing competition. Tomorrow is the final, and Israel secured a spot in the top 26. It comes after days of large protests against the country's participation in this year's contest due to the ongoing war in the Middle East. As we mentioned earlier, President Biden significantly shifted his policy towards Israel this week, threatening to withhold weapons if they went ahead with a full-scale invasion of Rafah. That's where some 1 million displaced Palestinians are currently sheltering. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has forcefully pushed back, saying that the country will stand alone if they have to. This is Israel's war cabinet voted last night to expand its Rafah operation. And Hamas is saying that ceasefire efforts are back to square one. NBC's Richard Engel has more.
As Israel launched new attacks across Gaza tonight, the State Department issued a long-anticipated report that had the potential to block the flow of American weapons to Israel. It didn't. While the report was extremely critical of Israel's use of American-provided weapons and the high number of civilian casualties in Gaza, it stopped short of determining that Israel violated international humanitarian law, citing, in part, the complications of war to draw a conclusion. This week, President Biden warned directly that the U.S. would stop sending weapons if Israel launched a major offensive on the city of Rafah in Gaza. But in an interview with Phil McGraw, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu brushed it off, saying only Israel decides what's best for its security.
We've destroyed about 20 battalions of the Hamas's 24 terrorist battalions. We have another 4 to go there in Rafah. And that's why we want to go into Rafah, because we can't leave them there.
But this is what it looks like from the inside of the most dangerous city now in the Gaza Strip. Our crew in Rafah kept rolling as the Israeli military advanced, and Palestinians ran for their lives. They're not sure where they're going, just away from the sounds of explosions. Our cameraman arrived at a narrow alley. Israel had just struck a building at the far end of it. He films as wounded children stream out, in some cases carried by other children. Israel says it's targeting Hamas with precision strikes. At the local hospital, medics treated more than 25 casualties. Most of them appear to have been children.
2 administration officials tell NBC News that defensive and offensive weapons, including small arms, are still flowing to Israel, with new shipments recently sent.
Okay, Richard, thank you. 6 months after a terrible tragedy, a tiny survivor from Gaza known as Angel has found a new place to call home thanks to her remarkable doctor. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin has their story.
These images shocked the world. Babies struggling to survive, sparking international calls to save them. 6 died during the siege at Al-Shifa Hospital, according to doctors. NBC News was there when 31 babies, dehydrated and sick, were evacuated to Rafah and then to Cairo. But a little girl remained behind at the Al-Emirati Hospital in Gaza, known only as Malak, Arabic for angel, named after the angel who'd saved her life.
Many children in Gaza saved by angels.
Back then, doctors told NBC News that Malak had survived much more than the siege. Her neighborhood had been bombed, her family killed.
Ambulance found this baby in the tree. Our family died.
Malak was just 2 days old when she arrived at Al-Shifa, an orphan remarkably stable. Her condition only deteriorated during the siege, when doctors say they were forced to prepare her formula using contaminated water. It's been 4 months since the evacuation, and Malak is thriving, thanks to Amal Abu Katleh, a doctor at the Al-Emirati neonatal unit. Dr. Katleh watched for 2 months as the little girl lay alone in the hospital incubator in Rafah. I got so close to her, she says. After everything she's been through, I promised to make it up to her. And so the 32-year-old doctor volunteered to take her home as a single parent. I leave her with my sister, and she takes care of her when I'm at work, she says. Everyone treats her as if she is their biological daughter. Malak is a regular visitor to the hospital that saved her life. And while they're still checking for any surviving relatives in this brutal war that has claimed the lives of so many, Dr. Katleh is now embracing her new role as a mother. Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are in Nigeria to help promote mental health and to celebrate 10 years of the Invictus Games. It's a Paralympic-style sports competition Harry founded that supports wounded troops and veterans. NBC News correspondent Meghan Fitzgerald explains how this trip may indicate their deepening rift with the royal family.
Prince Harry and wife Meghan Markle in Nigeria, all smiles as they visited with students at a school, kicking off a 3-day trip in the African nation.
I see myself in all of you as well.
The trip, the first time they've been to Africa since 2019, which was their last official visit as working royals. But this visit, part of the couple's own mission, not one on behalf of the king, though they did receive a royal welcome. Social media buzzing with messages welcoming Meghan as a native daughter after she announced on her podcast that she's part Nigerian.
I just had my genealogy done a couple years ago. What are you? 43% Nigerian.
No way! No. But it's a trip that royal watchers say further shows the ongoing rift in the royal family. Harry was in London alone for 3 days, entertaining young military kids.
It's great. It's amazing. What Scotty's is doing with these kids is absolutely incredible.
Prince Harry telling the BBC,
I'm nice to be back in the UK.
That's great.
Nice to see you.
He also celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Invictus Games at St. Paul's Cathedral.
Two cameras. How are you getting 2 cameras?
His mother, Princess Diana's siblings were there, but no one from the royal family. King Charles was meeting with the public some 3 miles away at a garden party, but he didn't meet with his son.
It has been made clear that Harry did want to see his father, and therefore it was his father or those around the king not being able to find time for Harry.
Official and unofficial duties continue, but so does the family rift. Meghan Fitzgerald, NBC News.
Okay, you may have seen the pandemonium all over social media this week over a few so-called pandas, but they're actually just dogs dyed with dyed fur. NBC's Stephanie Gosk explains why a zoo in China tried to get away with the faux panda exhibit.
They may be unbearably adorable, but they aren't actually bears at all. The latest exhibit at this zoo in eastern China had visitors doing a double take. These pandas are really chow chow puppies, advertised as panda dogs, and social media can't get enough of them. Look quickly with eyes half closed and there is a resemblance to the rare giant panda. Sort of. But some zoogoers in China aren't happy about what they call a deception. According to Chinese state media, the zoo said it dyed the dogs black and white because they didn't have any pandas. A worker insisted visitors are not being misled and that the fuzzy chow chows are accurately described as dogs. A spokesperson for the zoo tells media outlet Jam Press people also dye their hair. Natural dye can be used on dogs if they have long fur. But how do the dogs feel about it?
This is something that's kind of being forced on the animal for the sake of human entertainment.
It isn't the first time a Chinese zoo was mixed up in an animal controversy. Last year, Angela, a Malayan sun bear, went viral after it was caught on camera walking on its hind legs. Social media exploded, with some claiming it was a person dressed up as a bear, which was later debunked. Actual pandas are an incredible sight, lovable and playful, helping to boost zoo tourism around the globe. The San Diego Zoo shared pictures of two giant pandas expected to arrive this summer, Yun Chuan and Xin Bao, a highly anticipated import after three giant pandas departed from the Smithsonian Zoo in D.C. last year.
I love them. They're so cute.
Now that panda-sized void even felt across the world, with dogs being used as unlikely stand-ins.
Zoos are there to educate. Zoos are there to inspire. Zoos are to promote conservation. They're not there to promote painting domestic animals with colors to represent wild animals.
Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
All right, well, before we go, it's time for the future of everything. Boeing was supposed to launch astronauts to the International Space Station on Monday, but it was called off just hours before. And now a NASA contractor says the launch shouldn't happen at all. So what's really going on here? We'll explain, so stay tuned. Just 2 days after the Starliner rocket launch was scrubbed and moved to May 17th, a contractor for NASA is urging the space agency to cancel the launch altogether. Why? Well, Valve Tech, the contractor that supplied the government agency with valve components for the rocket, urged NASA to, quote, redouble safety checks and re-examine safety protocols to make sure the Starliner is safe before something catastrophic happens to the astronauts and to the people on the ground. Let's bring in former NASA astronaut and International Space Station Commander Leroy Chiao. Leroy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So we know a valve broke earlier in the week, but why weren't warnings like this given sooner? I mean, isn't a launch like this years in the making?
Oh, absolutely. And this rocket has been flying for a number of decades. And in fact, this was going to be the 100th flight of this variant, just this one variant of this rocket. So it's got a long heritage. And to be clear, the valve in question is not on the Starliner spacecraft. It's actually on the upper stage that's attached to this rocket. So it's a piece that has flown many, many times. There's been a separate dispute between the maker of this valve and the Starliner team, the contractor team. There's a disagreement. There were lawsuits, so there's some bad blood there. But there's a question of whether they are correct in bringing question to the particular valve that's having the problem, or are they still having a beef with, some issues that there was a lawsuit about having to do with the Starliner. So, and again, this issue has nothing to do with Starliner. It's the rocket. And so there's every reason to believe that the valve that's going to be replaced on the rocket is fine and is the right one. But NASA, you can bet, is not going to allow anything to happen until they're absolutely positive that all things are in order. And they're going to be working very closely with United Launch Alliance and all the contractors to make sure everyone's in agreement that this thing's ready to go.
Yeah, I can imagine they don't want to take any chances. So how would NASA go about fixing this issue? How much time realistically would they need?
It's hard to say. This is something that could literally be resolved in a matter of days. That is, the valve is replaced, the paperwork is checked, the contractors all meet together, and subcontractors and suppliers, and make sure that everyone's signed off. But at the same time, if this particular provider wants to be a spoiler because they're still upset about the separate lawsuit having to do with the spacecraft development, not the rocket, they could hold it up, So it kind of depends on how, how recalcitrant the parties want to be, how cooperative they want to be. NASA is kind of the overseer of all of this because, of course, it's the NASA astronauts that are on top of this vehicle. And so they are going to be guiding the process and making sure that everything's safe. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully it's a number of days and not a matter of months or things like that.
All right, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Leroy Chow, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Finally, tonight, we're bringing you the story of one Rhode Island boy who overcame adversity and achieved his dream of becoming an Eagle Scout. Sam Reed from our NBC affiliate WJAR has your 60 seconds of joy.
At his family home in Newport, 20-year-old Christopher Del Guercio is still floating on cloud nine.
It felt amazing.
This room is a reminder of what happened a few days ago.
This is me, my dad, and my brother.
And all of his hard work paid off as a lifelong Boy Scout. Each badge is a reminder of work that went into it, with significant reasoning behind it.
To follow my dad and my brother, because when they got their Eagle, I want to really get mine.
If you don't know, becoming an Eagle Scout is the highest honor for Boy Scouts of America. It's an achievement that doesn't come easy. To celebrate his success, a special ceremony was held for his eagle pinning.
We call Christopher the mayor of Newport. He knows everybody.
The actual acting mayor even showed up and gave him a key to the city. And this binder is full of certificates and honorable mentions.
Pentagon.
But most importantly to him, friends and family were there to support him, since he's always done the same.
That does it for us tonight. I'm Valerie Castro. We'll see you on Monday, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.